What's going on at Wolf Family? So this is Luis with one of the most important things that you can do with MyFitnessPal. And the big thing when it comes down to MyFitnessPal is entering your food. And in order for this to be accurate, in order for this to actually work and for you to get the results that you want, we're going to have to look at entering your food in the most accurate way. The most accurate way that you could do this is going to be single ingredient foods. And what is a single ingredient food? Well, I'm sharing with you a little bit about my journal right here. And you'll notice from here is that everything that I have broken down into is all food groups or just foods in general that does have one type of ingredient. And what I mean by this is that if you notice turkey, that's going to be my protein. Bread, that is going to be my carbohydrate. You can see that I ate more turkey. And then also brown rice, sugar snap. Those are brown rice crackers. So when it comes down to single ingredients, I get down really simple to where I make my food. I'll have just my turkey, and then I'll have just my carbohydrates. And then what I'll do is, and then like any other types of seasonings. And then if I want to mix it all together, I'll mix it all together real simple. So the way to do that is you'll have a food scale. The food scale is going to be really simple, and you'll have a food scale, and then it has a zero out button. I always recommend the digital one. It's the easiest thing, and I measure everything in grams. You notice everything is measured in grams, I think, except for the slice of bread, but and the crackers. But with anything, even the carbohydrates and rice and stuff, I measure in grams. So when you have your single ingredient foods, you have your food set on the scale, and you zero it out. Then you put your food on there, your turkey, and then I had 300 grams of turkey, and then I zero it out, and then I put my rice. Sometimes I'll have rice, and then I zero it out, and then any other types of like vegetables or anything like that. Typically, I don't mark down my vegetables. They're kind of negligible. But if you go up into the portal, and if you go into like any one of the meal plans, 1.25, the 1.5, or any one of those, you will actually see like a list of no-go carbohydrates. And actually, I'll just pull that up for you real quick here. Pull up to 2.75. And here you go. And this is it right here. Let me just move my head down. And you'll find this also within the portal. And let me just zoom in just a little bit, that way you're able to see. And you'll notice these types of vegetables really quick. Those ones are going to be the ones that you're going to, that you will measure out. Like if you did peas, carrots, corn, any type of squash, eggplant, pumpkin, beets, you can have those. Those are okay with this plan. But the big thing is that if you do measure it, you're going to measure it out just like you would anything else, and more than likely it's going to be counted as a carbohydrate. Anything that falls under vegetables that is not on this list, like stick with green leafy vegetables, you don't have to necessarily count that. But when it comes down to single ingredient foods, you'll notice just you have your proteins, you have your fats, you have your carbohydrates. The food list is a little bit different, but it's pretty much along the same lines. And then you measure that out individually, you cook them individually, and they are all spread out individually, and then you mix them together after you measure everything out. And it's really easy to measure out, like I said, is that you have a digital scale, food on there, your protein on there, zero it out after you get the measurements, put your carbs on there, zero it out, get your measurements or whatever, and then you zero it out, and then you get whatever thing. Super simple as that. If you make it more complicated, that's when you're going to make like stews and things like that. I'm not saying that you can't make stews, but make sure that whatever like types of food or anything like that that you do have, any types of food that you do have, you just mix it in after you weigh it out. It'll be simple as that. All right, and that is your tutorial on single ingredient food.